belonging to GMV. GMV is a technological company, and today I'm responsible of the research and innovation activities within the company. That means our strategy, our participation strategy in the collaborative research projects in European context. And as you know, equality in gender is one of those aspects that Europe is really pushing for. So great to bring here this perspective, and happy again to be with all of you.
Well, thank you for having me as well. My name is Alba. I'm Alba Rota. And if Cristina told already that she might be a stranger because of their telecommunication role, I'm journalist, so yeah, I'm leaving, okay. I'm developer relations, which, in case you didn't know it, it's the person who's in charge of talking with communities, with technical communities and business. It's kind of bridge between both worlds. And well, that would be a short summary, right? Thank you.
We have a set of questions. We prepare a set of questions, but you can also ask some questions. The first question is about the ratio women-men in your group or in your community. Could you give some information about that?
Well, I left Telefónica just 1 year ago, but I can give you many data because in fact I was the responsible for the diversity plan inside Telefónica. It's just for a longer session, but very quick information. In all the people working in Telefónica, the rate woman-men is around half-half. In the technical areas is 30-70. That is very similar what's happening in the university, at least here in Spain. But when you start going up in the different levels, manager, director, executive direction, the numbers goes down dramatically. Telefónica just have less than 10% of women in the top position, and what's even more interesting for me, there are many teams with more than 50% of women, and there is no woman in the management position. It's a huge company, it's difficult, and it's something, if you don't make a plan and you manage diversity as a business need, because many people across the world has put on the table that companies managing diversity, they get better business results. And for me, it's a business issue, exactly like you manage sales. You really need to manage diversity, not only in gender, in way of working, in talent, in many aspects. And until you don't have the real commitment and the will of the top management of the companies to really, and it's not a question to obligate anybody, it's just a question to create a condition for people once can. That's for me the difference. And if you don't really change how you manage your talent, how you promote people, if you educate in unconscious bias, because at the end of the day, many of the decisions are related with our unconscious bias, it's going impossible to change, because I always make the same question to the men. Where do you will with this change?
Okay, here I have a suggestion to the chairs of the panels. As I have prepared a very short presentation, few slides, possibly that creates more dynamics. If we can show that, is that possible? Okay, if you wish, Alma, to answer, and meanwhile I will be.
Yeah, no problem. Well, my company is really different from Telefónica, because Telefónica is like a really big company, a corporation. I work in a company we are right now like 60 people in the company, and from I believe we are like, from those 60, we are like 50 or 40 developers. So it's not the same numbers, obviously. And we have also a really short number, a really low number of women developers. And this is obviously a problem, as you said before. And I don't know, the other thing you asked was the number, and what else?
The ratio, women, men ratio, and how many companies?
Yeah, well, maybe we're going to talk later about the things. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's start with my company. My company, just to give you the context. GMV is a technological company. Thank you, Alba. Thank you very much. And of course, we care about that. And for you to have an idea, we are more than 1,060 people around the world. We are not only in Europe, but also in the States, in the area of Asia Pacific, and we have a very solid progression on the financial numbers. And today we are really diversified in many different sectors. So that means that that's an impact from the perspective. And the numbers, this is what was the question about. We follow the this percentage. We are more or less 24-25% of women in the company, and let's say a little bit more than 15% we are in the senior management, which I mean, you could see that possibly there are room for improvement, clearly. But I would like to connect these numbers with the programs and the activities to improve that. And that goes in connection with what Christina said, is the commitment of the top management. And in this sense, we have STEAM programs like the example which we show here. That's a partner in the program Talent Guard, and that goes through the 3 different pillars. The first is for talent search, the second is for mentoring women, and the third is for the real work and practicing in engineering with young women in these fields. What more we are doing today? Well, what we think is that science is not for men, it's not for women, it's for persons. And in this sense, we push and give all the company, not only internally in the company, but outside the company. We give examples. I have bring with me some newsletters, the publication GMV News. You will see examples like this on them. You can take some of them away if you wish. And I think that yeah, the rest is for next round. So that's a little bit to connect not only the numbers with the programs internally and the commitment of the top management people.
Thank you very much. Now we would like that you share with us the reasons behind you get involved in an IT career, and then to know your career path. Which kind of decisions you made to modulate your career path, right?
Well, okay. I made my decision to study engineering because I am very practical, and my first decision was being astrophysics. and my dad said me, okay, come on, it's good to be astrophysics, but maybe it's not so practical to get a good salary and things like that, and let's be very pragmatic. And I made telco engineering because I really like mathematics and things that it was like a personal challenge. And in fact, all my life has been why not, because I hate the bias. And I hate why society has to say what is good or bad if you are woman or man. So I made my decision to study telco engineering, and I finished 1 year before, because why not? Study quicker. And the real thing that I like is studying. And I finished my career and starting my PhD, but at the same time, okay, I have to earn money because I want to marry and I want to have kids. Let's start working. And I start working as a software engineering for switching in Alcatel. And after 5 years, I made to a telco company called Airtel, later Vodafone. And I started assuming responsibilities as a director very, very young, less than 30. And I had the opportunity to go through R&D, operation, networks, business development. And I always think, where is next, where is next, where is my journey for the next 5 years. And of course, I have some bosses that they wanted to take decision for me. Are you sure that you are going to get pregnant? And are you sure that you are going able to manage your kids? I have 3 kids. And your career? And my answer always say, okay, that is my problem, it's my choice. Maybe with my husband, but it's not something to talk with my boss. And I always wanted to show that it's possible. If you really want, because in many cases women are the problem because they are not convinced. But if you are really convinced, you can have a family, you have to have good career. Of course, it's very important your couple or the other side. In this case, my husband. If you don't have the right husband, it's impossible. I can tell you. Yes, because it's a pity, but many friends of mine has to choose between the career and their kids or their husband. And that is the real life. And I really feel very angry when I say, and the men doesn't have to choose between their wife and their career. So it's something we have to really educate to the society. If we really want equal opportunities, there are many things to start changing from the family and from the early stage, no? So, and after Vodafone, I moved to Telefonica because I was about to have my 3rd kid, and I wanted to move out of Spain. And again, I continue learning and really showing that you can manage things. And now I'm in a different step of my career, but I want to continue in the next years to really helping how to really change the society through the technology. And I feel with a moral obligation to really start in the schools. I go to many schools to explain that women engineers are not strange things, not freaky, or big beyond theory actors or things like that. People studying engineering, and because at least in Spain, most of the girls between 12 or 15 years old, they start thinking that mathematics and physics, they are not really good. And I've been discussing with my 16 years old because she told me, Mommy, I'm not good in mathematics. And I say, okay, Paula, this is a nonsense. It's just a social pressure with the professors and with many, many aspects. Later in the university and later in the companies, I am coaching many women, trying to help them to really increase the trust net. But just working with women is not enough. It's necessary, but it's not enough. If we don't work with men, nothing is going to change. You can be very happy with all the programs, like the program Women in Engineering with the Royal Academy of Engineering here in Spain. I am collaborating in the schools and the university, but if we don't really change things with the men, nothing happens. that is my personal experience.
Okay, so you were asking about our complete career background. Okay, I don't know, possibly that's a little bit boring, but okay, let's try. I'm computer science. I studied computer science in Polytechnical University. So at that point, when I finished the career, I made it just because I love that. I love this kind of technology. I love the science. And I always enjoy everything that I do. And I always pursue my dreams. And I remember that one of my dreams were spacecrafts. And what I mean is not only aerospace, but space and deep space. And this is what made me to look for that. And when I finished my career, I request for a post in the European Space Agency. And as you know, this is an international agency. And there are many people asking for a post to work there. I got it. It was very hard. I need to pass through different boards, but I make it. And then, after working there in the Netherlands, I was working in Switzerland for a small company that afterwards was purchased by Alcatel, by the way. And after working there, and enjoyed the work, and enjoy another cultures, and working, well, in a, let's say, main environment, what I feel is that they are happy to have women there, because you offer different perspectives and different ways to discuss and to find solutions. Well, finally, I came back to Spain, and I'm very happy to say that I belong I joined GMB more than 20 years ago. So that's a little bit of, I don't know, the path and the career. And why I made like that is because I really like it. So my suggestion is just do what you wish, that's all. And if you put your threshold high, I'm sure you will get it.
Well, as my partners in this table, my father also viewed with me so many Cosmos episodes. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carl Sagan as well. But in my case, I consider myself a geek person, 100%. But I love also communicating. So I had to choose between my two passions, and I decided to study journalism. But well, I worked in a lot of companies, but I started working with technology companies in 2011, and I started working. I also worked in 20. I don't know if you remember it. It was like a Facebook copycat here in Spain, social network. Now is Telefónica's, yeah, 20. Yeah, that's right. And well, I also worked there. I worked when I get to work there in 20. It was the first time for me working in a men environment, because everybody there was software developer, and everyone were men, obviously. So it was like really weird for me. It was the first time in my life I was entering in an office, and I almost the only woman there. Not the only, but we were a few, and it was a weird sensation. But yeah, after that I was in Bosch, and well, some others. And I've been the last 4 years and a half in Autentia, in my current company. They are also software developers. But I'm really happy to work in this company, because I think we can change things. We can do, from our point of view, from our female point of view, we can change things, but also talking with our male male partners in the companies, and we have a lot to do. And referring, you were talking about your daughter says she's not good at maths. There's a talk which is given by Teresa de la Torre, is in Spanish, sorry, and it's the title is El hombre pisó a la luna gracias a una mujer. The man was in the moon because of a woman. And it's super good talk, because she says with statistics, these perceptions, these girls with 15 years, they think they are worst in maths, for instance, but the numbers say the opposite. So it's super curious to understand this problem. And also, I go to meetups. I'm mentor of girls who want to get to technology, but they feel afraid or something. I also help them at Tech Sessions, is a meetup, and for instance, and right now I'm helping 2 girls, and well, we try to make things.
Hi, thanks for your talks and presentation. I have a curious question for the first lady in the panel. I forgot your name, sorry. What advice would you give to women that are trying to follow a career in STEM and who think they don't have the right husband? Your advice for women that don't think they have the right husband to follow a STEM career? Because you mentioned that's a fundamental precondition.
Yeah, okay, that is my...
By the way, sorry, my wife is also in a computer science.
Yeah.
So that doesn't speak about myself anyway.
My husband is also a telco engineer, and in fact I met in the university, no? But, you know, my eldest son is also studying engineering, so I don't know why, but it's the reality. Well, and again, that is my personal experience, and okay, a part of the funny thing is it's always very difficult to really understand why. But in my personal experience, at least in the Spanish society, there is some kind of bias that when you try to go directly, you fail, because as Alba said, all my life has been with men. I've been the only woman in the board for more than 10 years, and I always try to educate to my colleagues, leading with my example to really create diverse teams, but not with gender again, with different styles of working, different way of tackling the problems, and these kind of teams are much, they perform much better. But on the other side, they are much more complex to manage, because most of the people, because this unconscious, when they make decision to select people, they try to select people similar to them, because they feel very comfortable in this kind of ecosystem that most of the people is like them in terms of way of thinking, many, many things. And when you had a team and the diversity part is less than 30%, this diversity part is completely isolated. And I felt many, many times completely isolated because I tried to push, but I didn't have the minimum critical mass to really create impact. So that is because I think it's so important to educate to the people that to learn managing diverse things, because if you don't recognize diversity and how to manage that there are some guys things differently that can give you a lot of insights, at the end of the day, you are losing a huge opportunity. And that is because I am so, and I defend so strong the importance having women in this kind of career, because the world is moving through the technology opportunities in the next 20 years are going to be huge. And I feel very bad thinking that half of population, they are not going to be ready to make their own choices, because they are making choices very, very soon. And for me, the most relevant part of the human being is the freedom to choose. And I really want that at least the woman choose, having in mind all the pieces of the cakes, to really say, yes, I want to be an STEM and I want to be a director, and society and my colleagues and my husband are not going to make decisions with me. And I reinforce the husband or the partner role, because the most critical part of my career has been around 30, 32, when you have to choose ramping and growing in your career, having kids, taking care of your family, and I was about to say, I cannot manage. It's really very, very complicated to have the pressure of your boss, the pressure at your home, the pressure of your kids, and the pressure of your husband. And most of the women that I had been talking to them, they have say, I don't know how to manage. If I can have to choose between my family and my work, I'm going to choose my family. And at the end of the day, it's a pity, because if you really have conciliation, and conciliation is not a woman issue, it's a woman and a man issue. If you really have a person that when you have kids, there are some days for you, others for the others, and in my particular case, even was more than 50%. And that is very generous in a society when many people think that maybe my husband is not doing the right thing, or where is sociable acceptable, and he's also having a lot of pressure. But at the end of the day, if you are not able to really change the bias and the traditional models, it's impossible to evolve, and it's impossible to change anything. That is because I think that it's very, very important to really starting from the top to create the context for things change. And it's very, very complex issue, but that is my experience. Sorry, I talk a lot. I know.
Jamal Al-Hashim from the University of Po in France. I have two questions, but first let me thank you for being here, because it's always a pleasure to meet successful women in our domain. My first question is about, we talked about encouraging young girls to get in this domain. What, in your opinion, from your experience, are the arguments that we should use with these girls to convince them to get into this domain? And my second question is, we talked, and it's from the last presentation, we talked about actively recruiting women in our domain in order to improve the thing. How we can keep a balance in between actively recruiting women and being objective when analyzing the applications, the CVs? What are the criteria that we should use in between recruiting women, but recruiting good quality also when recruiting? Thank you.
let me take your first question. You was asking about how to combine a girl to make the choice about science, technology, engineering. And what I will say is that a girl or a boy, that's equal. I mean, you need to offer them all possibilities, all the existing portfolio. You need them to explore what is science and what is arts, and then let them to make their choice. I mean, we cannot force, we cannot combine. Offer these possibilities, go to museums, explain or show whatever, but like any toy, it's something that they need to know, they need to explore before they take a decision. That's my suggestion.
Well, I disagree if I haven't understood, but I think we are moving forward to a world in which technology and arts and everything, it's going to be mixed. So I don't think we have to separate these two worlds. Maybe, for instance, me as a journalist and as a tech lover, nowadays there are a lot of possibilities to all these data journalists doing these interactive maps and all that things. So why not we can choose like the best parts from each discipline, right? I think so. And the answer, if I knew the answer, I would probably write it and be a bestseller, but I think it's like the easy answer as well, but I think it's not only our fault, our as industry fault. I mean, think about when I was a child, the 80s, think about which were the movies reference for technologists. I don't know, you wanted to buy a computer and the guy who was playing with the computer was a guy. Remember the Game Boy, not the Game Girl? Everything was set for boys, not for girls. We have to start from that point, in my opinion. Everyone normalizing. I mean, okay, you like maths. Your daughter, for instance, you like maths. Okay, let's study this discipline. Let's be an engineer, and why not? I don't know. It's like a super easy answer, but it's not an easy thing to do.
Just to add very, very quick, in my view, when I talk with many girls, studies around woman brain, it's very focused to understand the social benefit on the job he's performing. That is the reason because so many women study for being doctors or related to medicine. I think we have failed to explain, thanks to technology, you really can have a really social impact. That for me is a fault for all of us.
Sorry, I have a good and a bad news. The good news is that we may have the panel maybe 5-10 minutes more because our rector is stuck in a traffic jam. The bad news is that the cocktail will start 10 minutes later.
Yeah, and coming back to the recruiters, let me give you a joke, okay? It's a joke, no? But when I am in this kind of fur, I like to say that the real equal opportunities is when the same not good women are at the same level of non-good men on the top. Yeah, because we are very obsessed with to be the best and to be very good. Of course, we have to pursue to be very good. But if we don't push and to really make some positive discrimination to really change the numbers, things is going to take longer time. So, and be serious. Not all the people and all the men on the top are the better.
In our company, we are discussing right now, we haven't committed yet, but we're going to, I hope. We're going to anonymize the CVs, so there's not any possible bias when the recruiter sees that, okay, this is a senior role, this is a girl, weird, no. You are reading this because, sorry if many of you didn't know, maybe, I don't know, in Spain it's not so common send resumes without the picture. I know in other countries it's common, but not in Spain. So yeah, we are going to start anonymizing our CVs, for instance, yeah.
In my experience in Telefonica, it's also very helpful that the people to make the choice has not just one. Having at least a woman inside the team to make decision, and as so much diverse that you can. Because if just only one person and is going to be the boss, it's probably to select the same kind of people.
Just if I may to add something, which maybe is exciting in the time that is coming, is that as in many areas, in many fields in our lives, artificial intelligence is being embedded. That means recruiting process is not only a human process, and that may help in this equality. So the it should be ensure that what is shared is for talent. That's it.
A short comment, maybe because I've read a lot of Asimov, but I've read a lot of these big data things, and maybe sometimes algorithms always tend to do bias. It's not only a human thing, so I wouldn't let all this on an algorithm.
I love this issue. That's why I raised it, and this is really a critical discussion. I mean, I think in all Europe. I mean, how we ensure that algorithms guarantees not bias. Yeah. So this is real something that is. I mean, it's a subject of research. Huh?
I'm a little bit puzzled about one of your remarks that in medicine a lot of girls are active. The same goes for the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands, and we have the same problem in the IT industry like you in Spain. But in medicine, the number of girls who are starting a study is increasing, and it's much higher than male students. And there are also many female doctors. Although it's a tough job, they need to work extremely hard. It's also rather technical. So I was a little bit puzzled why, and maybe the social thing is there helping, where being a programmer is seen as a nerd who is sitting behind his computer and makes computer programs and nothing else. But maybe the agile way of developing software is a solution. Like in our company, where we have at the moment 40 agile teams developing software, and it's a team effort. So it's not longer a programmer sitting behind his desk. It's a team effort, and what we see is that you need at least one girl in a team, and then a team is becoming better. Because a girl has other qualities that can add to the team as a group. And especially in the role of a product owner, We have now at the moment more girls as product owner, or females I should say, instead of males. And they are very good in being a liaison between business and a team, and yeah, that's where they can add a lot of value. That's, I don't know if you recognize that, but that's the point I would like to make.
No, absolutely. What I really recognize, because it has been one of my obsessions in all my career, is that creating diverse teams makes better results. But it's much more difficult to manage than a non-diverse team. And it's your choice if you want to really manage with that complexity. And not everybody wants to manage that. But absolutely agree with you. But you have to force it in some environments, because if you don't force the trend, or is continue business as usual.
So probably we and you are all the wrong ones for that question, but probably you still have some data. So actually, do we know what hinders actually young women to decide for a STEM career? So yeah, but you decided to go into, so obviously you're not the right ones, but still, because in my opinion, that's the things we have to work on, you know, the wrong public opinions about and stereotypes about our job and so on. So do you have some data or information about that?
Well, again, I have my personal experience. There are, in the program, we are working with the Royal Society of Engineering. The number of girls want to study STEM careers in Spain is decreasing. And the main reason is, and there is not just a single issue, I think is some aspect. It starts in the family, because there are many parents, they don't really understand very well what a STEM career makes and where are the real. There is not such a good understanding where studying STEM means. There is a lot of influence on the professors at schools, and there is a professor, and mathematics and physics are not the best ones, to be honest, at least in the Spanish education. And again, there is a lot of a role model thinking that in STEM career are more for men. When I asked my 20 years daughter, why do you think, and say, because girls doesn't like maths and physics, and say, come on, because there is such a social pressure around, and to be honest, for me it's very difficult to understand why, but it's the reality, and we really need to create the change of schools. And at the 12, 13 years old is the moment of truth, because after is late.
We'd like to thank our panelists. So thank you very much.